I think a lot of what at least the institutional left does is well-intentioned. And unfortunately, though, because of the way that our politics is divided so evenly, they're forced to pander to the extreme. Well, they're not forced to. They choose to, because I don't know why. They're idiots politically, and they don't realize that the vast majority of Americans are still moderate. But it comes off as really bad optics. And I do understand why conservatives, I understand what they're reacting against. But this constant emphasis on identity is, I would strongly argue, having experienced this as a liberal myself, entirely counterproductive. But as you were suggesting, because if you're constantly emphasizing difference, then you shouldn't be shocked when prejudice results from that. Because back in the day, under the old kind of prejudice, Jim Crow, slavery, whatever else it might be, genuine sexism and such, that developed by constantly emphasizing differences between humans and labeling this group and that group and the other group. And I'm part of this group, so that makes me better and more worthy of attention. And essentially the left has taken that paradigm now and reversed it. It may not have been what they intended to do, but because they have this sort of like cultural Marxist communist mentality they've imbibed, perhaps unwittingly, the result has been, just like in communism, this constant cycle of purging and conformity and sort of, what's the right term for this? Sort of careerism, and like, you know, it's not a meritocracy anymore at that point.
I have a theory that kind of pertains to the heart of this question. And it's not my theory. It's G.K. Chesterton's theory. And I think we can both agree that the roots of modern America, or the modern, and by modern, I mean like since the fall of Rome, like modern, the roots of modern political philosophy is Christianity, right? So all of these ideas are birthed out of a Christian worldview, right? And so paganism died, Christianity replaced it in the West, and all the political philosophies kind of flow from Christian ideals, right? So I would say the part of the philosophy that is, or the theory that is my own, is I think that the Christian narrative spark with people. The modern political dichotomy is more a difference, and this is more explicit in the church, but a focus on Christ's humanity versus his divinity, right? And so I don't have receipts for this necessarily, but the idea, when I look at the left, especially in the American church, the idea is that the universe is good, the universe is compassionate, the Lord is merciful. And I see that strain of thought, politically and philosophically, kind of flowing into modern leftism, because a lot of the roots of this are based in the church, a lot of liberal philosophy. And the conservative philosophy, the idea that God is just, he is dignified, we are sinners, that more informs the modern traditionalist movement in the church. And perhaps my theory that I'm just kind of spitballing now is that modern American conservatism flowed from a focus on Christ's divinity. So it's a theory that I haven't polished yet, but what I have polished, or Chesterton polished for me, is the idea that due to the fact that all these philosophies have a basis in Christian theology, these ideas, they flowed from Christianity, but without Christ. Does that make sense? So the idea that Chesterton posits in Orthodoxy is, he writes something to the effect of like, compassion is good. Compassion is a Christian worldview. But in the West, when you take compassion, separate it from Christ, it goes amok, like Pandora's box, right? When you open the box of Christian orthodoxy and you let these ideas flow forth without their kind of containing factor, the things that give them reason, their logos, they go forth and they become madnesses. Because the only person who can proportionalize these in real time in relation to like human persons is Jesus. And we would say that Christ in some ways contained in the church. And so the church is the perfect balance between compassion and justice, justice and mercy, mercy and licentiousness. And so we haven't talked about this yet. We talked about a lot of things, but that's my theory thought about how this relates to underlying philosophies of the modern American political system.